And good morning, Gerard. Great to be on SuperTalk again.
Yes, sir. So I guess the big news today that we wanted to get your thoughts on is the president has traveled to the great state of Georgia. Interestingly enough, less than 24 hours after the Georgia Bulldogs were crowned national champions of the Division I football world, he's down there in Georgia talking about voting rights. And he continues to push hard, as do your colleagues, your Democrat colleagues there in the House and over in the Senate as well. It's like we've just pivoted from the domestic agenda. We've jumped all over this deal. And, of course, they got to get rid of the filibuster to make it happen. I know that you've reviewed the provisions of this legislation. Is it the end of democracy if a prospective voter can't register and vote on the same day? I mean, that's what they're saying.
You know, it is amazing to me is you have to have a COVID card to get in a restaurant up here now. Okay, you have to show vaccination. You have to wait in long lines to get tested. And these are the same things they're saying. Well, you don't need an ID to vote, and you should never have to wait in line to vote. Something as precious as our right to vote. Listen, January 20 marks 1 year of complete Democratic rule of both chambers and the presidency. And I just ask you, what have they accomplished in the last year? But they're still going forward, trying to change voting laws so that they can rig elections. And this is crazy. I mean, this week we're voting on a piece of legislation that is entitled NASA.
Okay.
However, what it does is give them a way to break the filibuster and to pass their voting rights or part of their voting right legislation in the United States when we send it over there. So we'll vote no on that. And everybody say, why'd you vote no against NASA? We're not voting no against NASA. We're voting no on voting rights and no voter ID in a federalized way.
Yeah, I mean, it is rich, isn't it? You've got to have all these credentials showing and proving you've been vaccinated or tested and so forth. And now OSHA wants you to keep up with all employers to maintain all these records documenting all that. But when it comes to voting, which should be a solemn right, a privilege, honestly, as a citizen in this country, oh, no, just step right up and cast your ballot. That just is mind-boggling to me.
Go try to rent a car. Go try to get on an airplane on a commercial flight without a photo ID, and they would laugh you out of the place, if not put you in jail if you raise Cain. But yet the most precious thing we have in this nation is our one vote, one person thing, and they don't
Yeah.
want any rules that stop you from voting.
Well, in the Senate, of course, to break the filibuster rule, they need to get all the Democrat senators on board with that, all 50, and then the vice president could cast a tie-breaking vote. But thus far, Senators Manchin and Sinema have expressed their lack of desire to change the rules, and I think just as recent as this morning made updated statements attesting to and confirming that position. So what do you think happens over there?
I hope that they will hold tight, and I think that both Manchin and Sinema will do that. I actually served with Kirsten in the U.S. House when she was over here, and of course
Yeah.
the Democrats have tried to bully them and put protesters outside and done ugly things to them and said ugly things across the media. But I think they're like most Mississippians I know. We'll do anything you ask us, not a daggum thing you tell us to. And I think their bullying is not going to work with those two. And I hope they hold the line.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. All right, let's talk about these vaccine mandates. As you know, the Supreme Court heard arguments on that this past Friday, and we thought maybe we'd get something handed down from them yesterday. We didn't. Where do you think all that goes?
I hope that they do not allow this president to have the authority to do vaccine mandates. I think it sets poor precedent for everything that we do. Listen, I think people should be vaccinated. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. However, I do think that people have a right to choose. And our CDC, if you think about this, Joe Biden told us he was going to stamp out COVID. That's what he ran on. And we've
Yeah.
had more deaths, more hospitalizations. It's more widespread, more cases since he's taken office. He turned down 750 million test kits in October, yet now he hasn't even got the contract in place to get the 500 million we need to get people back to work. And oh, by the way, we need to put our kids back in school. We need to quit this stuff. This is having huge psychological effects on our kids. And it's all on the Democrats and it's all on Joe Biden.
But he won't be firm with the unions, Congressman. It's so clear that it's all politically motivated. Why won't he go to the unions and say, you guys need to get in the classroom and teach these kids? You're hurting our most precious asset, our children.
Maybe he'll whisper at them. That seems to be when he wants to. Maybe he'll whisper at them, but he's not going to stand up to the unions. He's not going to stand up to those votes. And quite frankly, why would we expect him to have the courage to do that when we saw what he did in Afghanistan in the withdrawal? We've seen what he's done with China and Russia, and he just does not have the courage to stand up and do that to the unions.
Yeah, that's terrible because who are being harmed are America's children and the families of those children who are having to make adjustments to their lives just to deal with their kids being at home again. I heard one mother a couple of days ago say that her child's been in school for 2 years now, kindergarten, first, second grade. The child thinks that school is a place to go where you wear masks and don't talk to anybody. I mean, that's what we're raising now. How do you undo that? That's my concern. Why aren't they part of the conversation in this policy making?
Well, I mean, you would think they would have learned from Virginia, where they see that parents want to be involved in their school's education. They want their kids in school. They want to have the choice. And listen, if they're here, they don't want to send their child, there's provisions. They can do that virtually. But the parents want to make the decisions. But the Democrats are all about thee, not we. I mean, point in case, last night we come back, they say you have to wear an N95 mask on the floor. Just a regular mask won't do. And the speaker opened it up with a cloth mask that was color coordinated with her outfit. Okay, it is thee not we, thee not me.
Yeah, there's so many examples of it, and now there's new updates from the CDC director Rochelle Walensky, who says, well, we think that of those who are dying from COVID, and this is not to minimize the seriousness of the disease, but we think 75% of those have comorbidities. Well, most rational people, I think, felt that way and knew that. Why is that just now coming? And it's not, again, that we don't need to be concerned about it and handling it appropriately, but with wrong information, you end up with wrong guidance, and that's what's been happening.
You do. Well, the reason we didn't get that last year is because it was a media that wanted to elect Joe Biden president, and the best way for them to do that was to skew the statistics to look like Trump was doing horribly. But look, Trump got more people vaccinated than Biden has.
Exactly.
All the people vaccinated were under Trump's plan. All the vaccines we gave Biden, 3 vaccines, working vaccines when he came into office. He's not done them. We had the testing capabilities, but you don't hear him saying he's not testing, he's not getting the population vaccinated. Because let me tell you, the way to do this is to educate, not to boss and mandate. And if they would do that, people will get vaccinated, but not when they're told they have to.
I totally agree with you. Change directions a little bit. Senator John Ossoff over in the Senate there has introducing a bill that would bar members of Congress from trading stocks. What do you think about that?
Well, fortunately, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have any stocks. I don't have the wealth to do that. So, listen, I don't think that we should be allowed to trade any stocks if we have inside information or know the outcomes or in any way influence. I don't think we should ban us from doing stocks. I think we should ban us from doing stocks that we have any interest or any knowledge of. So I shouldn't be able to do defense stuff. I shouldn't be able to trade and, anything General Atomics or Ingalls or all those things based on my knowledge of what may come out. But I think if I do something in pharmaceuticals, which I have no knowledge of, then I should be able to trade. But we should be really careful because, listen, it matters what people think you're doing, and we need to be up and above, and we don't need to be trading stocks in areas. So I kind of for that. We don't need to be trading stocks in areas we have inside information on.
I think it's just transparency. That's what Americans want. It's just be honest and transparent, and I think we be all. But they don't operate that way, unfortunately. Congressman, we really appreciate you joining us today. Very informative, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. You guys got a lot of work to do.